everyone. We're skipping the order of the sequence in this video. I want to jump ahead to chapter 18 because there's something I found that I really want to show you guys. I think you'll find it really cool, and it absolutely verifies the validity of the Book of Enoch. Not only that, it verifies the authenticity and the time it was written. We have the technology to do that without finding a single original manuscript. And what we're doing is reading the text and putting it to the test in Stellarium, if you're familiar with that website. And pretty much we're putting it to the test, and the stars in the sky that's in this text, and then we're actually going to go back in time to 3000 BC and see if it matches the text. And indeed it does. So it's really amazing. So I want to avert your attention to chapter 18 and the end of chapter 18, verses 11 through 15. Now here we have a description of the bottomless pit, which I've covered in the last video. And I did make a mistake. That's not in Antarctica, that is in the North Pole. My mistake. But here in verses 13 through 15, the angel shows Enoch a cluster of 7 stars. And it says, "I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, 'This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven.'" Now, I didn't come up with this on my own. I found an article on this, and I've heard other people talk about this as well. So I'm not taking the credit. I actually found someone's work on this, and I decided to test it myself, and I'm just going to share it. The article that I found will be linked below, so you can check that out. But anyway, when we read about the 7 stars, we have to think that the most common known 7-star cluster in our sky is the Pleiades star cluster. So we're assuming in the text that the angel showed Enoch the star cluster of Pleiades. And it's interesting how the angel says this is the end of heaven and earth. So if we're going on the flat earth model, that means it would be on the horizon of the dome and the skyline. And ironically, when you actually put this to the test and go in Stellarium and go back in Enoch's time around 3000 BC, we find that the star cluster of Pleiades is exactly on the horizon, just as the texts say. It's really amazing. Check it out. Okay guys, so here we are on Stellarium, which anybody could access from the web. Now if you're wondering, since this is based on the globe earth model, we can still get accurate data even though we are believing that the earth is flat and going on the flat earth. As far as star positioning goes, we could still get accurate information from what we're looking for, so it doesn't matter. So okay, so here we are. We want the Pleiades star cluster, and that is right here, highlighted right here. Okay, we are on today's date, 2020, January the 11th. So what we're going to do, unfortunately I have to do this manually, is go back in time to the time of Enoch. Now Enoch's time was, here we go, around 3000 BC. His prophetic ministry was 3265 BC. So we're going to go back in time to Enoch's time. Now, I find it absolutely no coincidence that Enoch happened to live for 365 years. Meditate on that one. So what I have to do is literally go back in time manually, because that's all I can figure out how to do, and to Enoch's time. So what we're doing is we're going to make a pit stop along the way and stop at the time of Christ. As I'm going back in time, we already see the cluster of Pleiades descending and to the right. It was about over here when we started, and it's literally going down. So here we are around the time of Christ, and we can notice the positioning is slightly different. And we can literally watch it descend and veer off to the right as we go further and further back in time. And sinking further and sinking further and further to the horizon line as we approach 2000 BC. So for argument's sake, we're going to stop around, 3000 BC. Make it a nice even number, right in the middle of Enoch's prophetic ministry. So here we are, we're still going back in time. We are around the time of Enoch, and already we see the Pleiades star cluster right at the horizon line. So we're going to go back and we could just watch it sink for a little bit. And already I think you could be able to tell that what we see is amazing, and we cannot make this up. We see the text of Enoch to be exactly accurate. We're at 3000 BC during the time of his prophetic ministry, and the Pleiades star cluster is exactly where it says it should be, right on the horizon line, the end of heaven and earth, according to the flat earth model. And so what does this tell us? This is amazing that we have the capacity to not only verify the validity of the Book of Enoch, but we're also able to verify the date from which this text was written, that Enoch was indeed likely the author, and it was written in his time. This is better than any manuscript or whatever we could find. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, you just really can't make this up. Exactly where the text says is right on the line at the end of heaven and earth, the Pleiades star cluster. And I'll take the landscape away, and we'll see we are right on that horizon line, perfectly. And we're going to zoom in on that, in case you're curious. Here we are, right on the horizon line. We see the 7-star cluster of the Pleiades, right on the horizon line. Absolutely amazing. Truly, absolutely amazing.